Good evening, brothers, sisters, elders. Inside these marble halls, the General Assembly turns 80. The rituals feel familiar. The flags, the applause lines, the careful phrases. Today must be different. I am Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. Some expect a confession drafted elsewhere. 12 pages written in Paris, Washington, and Tel Aviv. Words meant to bend a young leader before a watching world. I did not come to bow. I carry the memory of a continent that walked through fire. I feel the weight of this hour, heavier than metal, heavier than a crown. Hundreds of leaders watch. Beyond these walls, millions lean forward. One thin folder sits on this lectern, a small object filled with large betrayals, agreements signed under pressure, promises traded for silence. Faces ask the same question. Is this a fall or a beginning? Will a young president fold, or will a symbol stand up? I think of those who came before, barefoot through flames, refusing chains, singing freedom at the cost of life. How would they name this moment? Surrender, or the first breath of freedom, unsteady but real. This hour belongs to miners and farmers, to mothers and students, to soldiers who chose hunger over betrayal, to children who dream under leaking roofs. I hold their names while I choose. The file accuses my country of destabilizing our region, of resisting peace, of blocking cooperation. It demands apology and submission, a neat ending for those who wrote the script, a lesson for anyone who dares to say no. I am in my 30s, easy to dismiss, easy to target. Predictions said 1 year in office at most, yet here I stand, not as a guest, but at the center of diplomacy. This silence is not routine. This is the pause before a verdict. Western rows expect compliance. African rows hope for defiance and fear betrayal. Cameras track every blink. I walk to the microphone. Uniform plain. No medals. No notes of my own. Only their file. I lay my hand on the folder. For a heartbeat, the hall stops. Will I read the words placed in front of me, or will I make a different record? I close the file. The room shifts. I begin with the first great crime, the transatlantic slave trade. 12 million taken. Chains, ships, plantations. Wealth built from blood. This is foundation, not footnote. Second, financial bondage. The CFA franc, a currency tied to Paris. Foreign reserves parked abroad. Hundreds of billions withheld from African hands. Third, Rwanda. 800,000 dead in 100 days. A shield raised over those who killed. Responsibility named. Fourth, debt. External balances above 680 billion. Almost 90 billion due this year alone. Children priced out of medicine by interest. Fifth, agriculture. Ghanaian cocoa forced open. Farmers ruined. Corporations celebrate margins. Sixth, assassinations. Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara. Voices of dignity cut down. Their names live on. I turn to finance. IMF, World Bank. Development presented with beautiful words, delivered with chains. Loans, interest, austerity, exit of profits. Around 50 billion leaves Africa each year for debt service. Health and education cut to keep payments moving. We ask no pity, we ask justice. I speak in law, not grievance. Yungai, 1514. Self-determination and the end of colonial rule. ICJ opinions on reparation and harm. Extraction under coercion violates sovereignty. Restitution follows. Our claim of 847 billion stands on the text this institution already adopted. Then the line that clears the fog. If justice is denied, Africa walks. No more consent to rules written by a few. No more veto over 1 billion lives by 5 states blessed by a war 8 decades past. I name wars sold as order. Libya shattered. Iraq at a cost near 2 trillion from Washington alone. Afghanistan, 20 years, then a runway farewell. Syria ripped apart by proxies. Money for war never runs out. Money for justice is always missing. I move from exposure to construction. 4 pillars. A global South Assembly. 1 country, 1 vote. No permanent seats, no veto. A development bank with clean terms. Funds for projects that serve people. No austerity triggers that break the poor first. A reparations court, colonial theft, debt fraud, and environmental damage treated as cases, not poems. A Security Council without a veto key, rotating leadership, recorded votes, no single state blocks all others. Then a date, December 15th, 2025, Ouagadougou. Meet on African ground. Write fair rules on level stone. Pressure begins at once. Promises wrapped in aid, threats wrapped in procedure, relief offers, frozen lines of credit, hints of sanctions, old tactics with new names. Media in major capitals calls this fantasy or danger. The volume gives the truth away. Worry lives behind those headlines. Meanwhile, trade flows start to move. Gold shifts routes. Bilateral deals deepen. Reality changes first. Narratives chase later. On our streets, debate becomes practice. Ouaga 2025. No more veto. Students model regional settlement. Traders ask for local units. Families understand without charts. Price and dignity belong together. 3 paths appear. If the summit fails, pressure wins. Leaders peel off. Debt chains tighten. The lesson stings. Do not try. If the summit holds, a second pole rises. Charters signed. A bank and a court born. Legitimacy gains a new address. Trade worth hundreds of billions rewires. Ratings adjust to the new map. If the summit holds under fire, sanctions hit. Reserves abroad freeze. SWIFT closes doors. Tech slows. Pain arrives. Leaks close. Local systems grow. CFA links weaken. Independence hardens through struggle. In each path, Africa acts. Elsewhere, banks prepare swaps and credit lines. Funds line up gold purchases. Traders watch cobalt, lithium, uranium. The green transition depends on African ground. Now back to this hall. A thin folder tried to script a confession. I shut it. I spoke. I named 10 crimes. I named the living costs. I named those who sign and those who pay. I understand the risks, sanctions, pressure, plots. The ghosts of Lumumba and Sankara stand close. I understand the risks at home. Pride can unite and divide. Some leaders will welcome this wave. Others will fear the fire. After today, silence is not an option. A staged confession turned into a charge sheet. An attempt at humiliation turned into defiance. One closing truth. We did not ask permission for freedom. We stood up to claim freedom. Remember 4 anchors. Dignity lives in refusal to kneel. Memory walks through generations. Courage travels farther than polite phrases. Identity begins when imitation ends. Some will call this rumor. Others will swear truth. Records can be edited. Memory cannot. Do not wait for a clerk to validate your voice. Choose. Carry a word. Justice, freedom, or black gold. Speak in homes, markets, schools, councils. Freedom is never handed across a table. Freedom is taken by those who stand,